We're back and front and everywhere in between. Yeah, we don't, I want to say we don't like debt. We don't carry debt, but that's not true. Like assets, it's okay if we can manage it. And if I had my druthers, we may carry debt, but we have a plan, an exit plan, so to speak. Um, we can liquidate it anytime I did that with Best Buy. I went ahead and took them up on their Best Buy card and got a couple of laptops and stuff. And yeah, they were so unpleasant pushing things that I paid them. I didn't have to take the debt. I could have paid them off. And they weren't a pleasant experience as a customer, so I paid them off. That the point is we want to be able to do that. We may carry debt, but we can pay it off pretty rapidly at just about any time to clear it. And if it's an unpleasant experience and stressful, that's what we'll do, whatever form that takes. So July 23rd, 2024, a year that'll live in history. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Be there, be square. Um, if this doesn't excite you and you don't want to get involved, then I predict like 10, 20 years from now, you're going to be like, I could have been something. I could have been a contender. I could, I could have been part of that. Um, but I was afraid or whatever. I just couldn't see it or whatever. If you want to be an employee, you can go off and get an employer and be a wage slave. I don't care. This isn't for you. I'm not interested in having employees. 1099s maybe because we'll outsource a lot. But anyhow, so an interesting one of those YouTubes that our people can use for training, and then we own a very powerful asset, is doing a D app that is a crowdfunding application, I guess. Well, we don't know. You don't really want to call them websites anymore. Um, but how we can use that is if there's projects we want to fund and it's not part of our line of business, it doesn't make a lot of sense for being uh, about minting NFTs, then we could seek the funding. And so through this app, which we would own and others probably can use, we can get funding for that project and go ahead with it. And that'll be particularly important with brick and mortar. So, can I think of an example? And micro ownership. Well, I'm going to mention. I was saying there's a guy that was on Shark Tank years ago, and his thing was he had a website where people that wanted to invest in real estate could like micro invest or whatever. They could buy parts of, like, say, there's a brick and mortar building in, say, Bellingham. People could invest in that real estate and own part of it or whatever. Anyhow, um, it would be more appropriate to do that with tokenization with Web3. And yet if we dilute it down enough, it would be kind of a hybrid of the old IPO stock shares type things. People can invest and own a certain part of a building and stuff. And we don't really need to care if they're jiggy with it, if they're part of our vision. But their share of ownership would be so diluted that um, they don't have any control or anything. They're just kind of riding along. But that's kind of a form of money. Hey, I'll take it. Okay. Um, so so we could have such a site. Um, come to the site. These are the projects. I mean, that's likely the form it'll take. These are the projects we're considering. Do you want to buy in? And so I say, like, okay, this thing's going to cost $6 million. Do you want to kick into the liquidity pool and own a part of that? And that takes us into what's being called RWA, real world assets. It's Snoosh home here. I intend to turn my wealth, my assets, over to Green Terramur or Corn Mint. See, don't to clarify, Green Terramur is the overall grand vision holder, the conglomerate. Unicorn Mint is a specific business or company that Green Terramur is going to own the majority of. Which takes me into something as I start getting people interested in project management and stuff. We need a legal eagle team. We need a financial team. We need a human resource team. And for us, human resources takes on special meaning and protocols and such, intentions. But I need people to help set up the LLC. Because one of the wonderful things about an LLC is we used to call them S corporations before LLCs existed. Um, it's a blank slate. The states want you to register with them, and you pay an annual fee for a lawyer to maintain that relationship with the state government to be registered. But really, in my experience, the government only cares about you paying the annual fees, getting their money, right? Beyond that, you really don't have to do anything. But you should, and it's intended that you will. And where I'm going with this is bylaws. One of the first things we need to do is write our bylaws for Unicorn Mint LLC. Um, but it's a blank slate. We can put anything we want in there. It's basically like, well, how's the company going to be governed? How are decisions going to be made? How is ownership handled? These sort of things. So typically, in one of our LLCs will be something about some kind of token that represents ownership in the LLC. We need to define that and write it down and make it a deliverable. The the governance part, executive bodies and stuff like that. By the way, if anything, I see myself more like chairman of the board. We need to get CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, all this sort of stuff. But we rarely have one linchpin of a person for these things. They're teams. Our CIO is the team leader of like my IT team of our information organization. Ooh, Gentle Giant. I should turn this on and listen to it. If I recorded enough. Yeah, I kind of need to shift gears in a few ways here. Let's see, what else do I want to say about yeah, we need to do that work at some point. And see, this is why I'm going to need entrepreneurial people because I need you to not get stuck in hourly productivity wage type bullshit. You got to be willing to do the work because you're going to be taken care of and you're going to get a lot of money in the long run in a relatively brief period of time as far as these kind of things go. Um, and meanwhile, you're going to be well supported and taken care of. So we need to do that. And again, the DAO, the voting, that's what I was getting at, the executive body, all that sort of stuff. Every business plan should have a DAO, a voting mechanism, so the owners can vote on things. What do we vote on? Well, uh, should we go get sushi for lunch? No, I'm joking. Chicklaw. Um, Whatever we want. I mean, I don't know. That's part of the fun for me. Reveal, kind of a magic 8 ball. Yeah, so all indications say yes. And I won't get into my philosophies on voting and team consensus and such. But every LLC should have that, a DAO for voting and governance, and ownership, monetization. How do owners get money? Um, well, that's kind of difficult because I would think you would get tokens, but we necessarily wouldn't want to sell those at the public at large. You earn them. Um, well, do we have to? I don't like passive investors. We might a little bit, maybe 20% or so. Okay, so we have the Unicorn Mint token, which represents ownership in the LLC. And part of our tokenization plan would be that we open up 20-30% public purchase. We don't need to know who they are. If they want to buy it, fine. Because then that gives value to the token, and then those that are earning the tokens with being working partners have something they can sell.